I was a Boy Scout. Didn't quite make it all the way up to Eagle, but just got one short of that. And one of the principles that they do instill in you is their motto, always be prepared. And as I continue this wonderful, wonderful experience called life in all of its ups and downs and turnarounds and upside downs, it's still, I mean, you have to admit to it. Good, bad, indifferent, it's still the opportunity to experience this. And as you go further along that road and that journey, you begin to have questions. Now, these questions quite literally come up to us even at a very early age. I mean, we all wonder at that moment when a child asks you, Mom, Dad, what is death? What does it mean to die? And many times, parents are caught off guard because, quite frankly, they don't know. And thus, the myths, superstitions are perpetuated forward. These are the questions I am asking about the other side. I look at this and I put down my thoughts because this channel is about documenting my journey of awareness. And part of that awareness is always asking the questions that I thought I had the answers to. Now, when you start doing that, the deck is reshuffled and you have to find your place of stability within that. And it can be done. It absolutely can be done. So here's question number 1. Does everyone on the other side speak English? Or do you learn a new way to communicate? And if you do, how is that done? It's not done in this realm. Every soul spirit born into this reality does not talk. They have to learn how to talk. And that in itself is miraculous. How the conscious mind that is aware, but yet not able to communicate because it does not know the principles, the laws, how it works. And I'm asking myself, what do they have on the other side? Those who are just what? Multilistic? That they can speak any language? Now, the thought immediately comes in, okay, well, maybe it's telepathy. But if you don't know how that works, even if you have the ability to use it, I dare say you're going to have a little time to adapt. I mean, I can remember being in some situations that, required decisions to be made. However, any decision made simply based upon what is supposed to be or what is thought to be ends up many times biting us in the butt. So I don't know. I mean, if it is telepathy, I guess we'll adapt to it. I keep on saying and hearing the saying, that which is above, so is below. I think that which is on the other side has to have some sort, I'm not saying exactly, but has to have some semblance of something that we would recognize, something that we would understand just coming out of this life experience. So that's one of the questions I ask. I mean, again, even if it's telepathy, I don't think it's going to be all that simple. Question 2. Does a spirit on the other side get hungry, produce waste? Can a spirit on the other side feel pain, pleasure? Can they feel it all? I mean, that's kind of just puts the whole hell thing out of right. Well, how could you be tormented if you're still relating to the five physical senses? That would then imply that the five physical senses are multidimensional, transferable. But then the question, then how is that done? Here, pain, pleasure, senses are done by simply either chemical or electrical impulses. Are there chemicals on the other side? Does electricity exist both in this dimension and the one to come? I don't know. Does a spirit get ruled by gravity? I've thought a lot about this. I mean, all the horror movies and all the pictures of all the ghosts and everything else, I'm asking myself, how can something that does not have physical matter to it be ruled by a force that we call gravity? Again, that would imply that gravity is somehow relevant in the spirit realm, in the ether realm. I don't know. Here's one. Is a spirit impacted by radiation? Now think about this. I mean, if you're a spirit, could you go to the sun and not be impacted by the radiation? I mean, if there's even a possibility a spirit is somehow ruled by gravity, because then, you can say, well, listen, they float. Yeah, but why are they always walking on the floor, not the ceiling or the side of the walls? Do they know north, south, east, west? Do they know up and down? And listen, it is thought that spirits, ghosts, by the way, what's the difference? Seriously? What's the difference between a ghost and a spirit? But anyway, I digress. That electromagnetic fields is at play. And then I thought, well, now this is assuming, of course, that you're not restricted to this planet. If you were passing by a black hole, would you be sucked into the singularity? And would you be able to survive it if you were a spirit or ghost? I think about that. And if you're out there in space, how are you traveling? By thought? Well, then that goes with a theory that I've had for decades, that thought is a propulsion system. I mean, come on, folks. You can't defy these laws if you're, I don't know, a glob, a mass. I mean, apparently, some spirits, some ghosts have legs, some don't. I don't know what happens and why they don't. But then again, you're traveling. Is it by thought, will? And then that leads to the fact that, well, then why don't all the ghosts of the spirits run? Why don't we see them running or, flying? We see them sometimes hovering, floating. I mean, said that they can walk through walls. So then that would directly imply they're altering physical matter. Do you learn this, or is this kind of the door prize that you get for passing through? I mean, think about that. How did they do that? If ghosts or spirits appear at all, you got to stop and say, don't be afraid of it. You got to ask yourself, how are they manifesting photons? How? Is this just a natural ability? Is it one that requires effort? You're altering physical matter. There's a mathematical formula to that. Then you got to ask yourself, well, do spirits, ghosts, need sleep? I don't know. Do you get tired? Then the question becomes, then if you need sleep, what time clock are you using? What determines that? How do spirits emanate energy? Is it that which we call that will? And getting back to the feeling thing, right? Well, if, let's say, you get hungry, do you eat? I don't know. That would imply, do you have organs? I'm assuming. If you have appendages, if you have the ability for conscious thought, if you can feel, sense pain, can you smell? I'm still trying to figure out how you hear. I mean, because why do you need eyes? Why would you need fingers? I mean, every ghost, every spirit I've seen, unless it's just some kind of mist, they seem to be bipedals. They seem to have their color, that they were here, there. How's that possible? What, do you show up on the other side and they go, Steiger, Caucasian? I mean, really? Is that how that works? And again, how would you use eyes? Our eyes here are extremely limited. Oh, yeah. And when you understand how the process that, we're seeing things in 2 dimensions to 3 dimensions, and how our brain is able to piece that together, and how we have the consciousness implanted on the mind, and then the mind and the brain sees these objects which may or may not actually exist. Does that carry over? Is it worse? Is it different? It is something we don't even know? Does a spirit continue to grow old or young? I mean, do we walk through it and we go, Steiger, made it to, and if you maybe grow young, I don't know. How's time relevant in a space-time that does not exist? Can a spirit leave the earth and travel in space? I mean, that gets back to the whole thing about radiation, black holes, altering physical matter. Are the laws that apply here in this universe transferable to other universes, other dimensions? Because I don't want to stay here. I mean, Earth is fine. I'm a space cowboy. You got to understand. I've been preparing my horse for a while. We got a lot of riding to do. I love that metaphor. Actually, I prefer thought better than the fact of sitting in a saddle. But you get the point. These are the questions I ask. Question number 3. The purpose of the universe. What is the purpose of the universe? We seem to think that we've mapped it out. And it's vast. And we continue to be baffled by it. So a human spirit is what? Limited to just Earth? All the religious systems of the world today all focused just on earth. Oh, they give reference to a great beyond, yada, yada, yada. But the core is that it's earth. It gives you the idea that heaven is within the influence of the earth as hell. Neither one exists, but yet are very well promoted and accepted. I mean, if the very thought of creation, that in itself speaks of itself as infinite, no boundaries, no limitations. And if I'm a part of that, if you are a part of that, why would it be limited to a physical plane called a planet? How could there be in any way a connection to this? This is where this whole thing with reincarnation makes no sense to me. I've studied it from many different perspectives. It is so limiting in its implication that it's not even funny. Besides that, it would also imply that the Creator is wasteful. I don't see that. I don't see that at all. Because why would the Creator create something to be just wasted? When I look out into the nighttime sky, even the daytime sky, because I know that it is filled with stars just as well as it is at night, that within me, there's something that yearns to be out there. I have this continuing, growing, intensifying sense that that's where I'm going. I don't believe in this reincarnation. I just don't see that. It doesn't make sense in a universe that people think is chaos, but it's actually meticulously designed. The human mind cannot comprehend the intricacy of the woven fabric that we call the universe. Also, all the belief systems are limited to man alone. That in itself is racist and bigotry. How do you say racist, Wayne? Because what it says that man and man alone is superior. In every construct, I have found it to be the opposite. And bigotry. It's a bigoted point of view because what it says is that nothing else matters but my opinion. I don't see that. And if you bought that, then you're saying that man has somehow never been exiled. And that makes no sense. Because if man has been exiled, by whom and for why and when and where? You see, it's so narrow in its thought because the next one that comes right behind this says, nothing exists but earth. No, I reject that. When I look out with my own eyes, and when I look within, that's even broader than the universe, I know this is but one stop among many more. And I don't know about you, but I have determined I'm not coming back. So does that mean that to be born on earth, that eternity is then limited to a concept of heaven, hell, or something in between? And yet the universe continues, and that somehow these places then are separate realities or universes? I mean, think about this. When you die and your spirit is free, are we going into a predetermined, pre-existing system? Is it no different than this one here? This one here is insane. Would it be perceived as insane for our minds to get over there? I often think about when a newborn is born now. Look into their eyes. Imagine trying to process that. I don't know if the experience that you accumulate here somehow is transferable there. Two roads. One road says that you're somehow given instant knowledge. The other road says it's going to be the same process when you came here. Now, the question is, can you prepare yourself better? Is there someone or something or some groups that are going to take care of you, allow you the time to adjust, to adapt? Or are you just going to be like, yeah, I know this. And then the universe. That denies the existence of the universe within itself. How can it be so limited, so finite, when we live in an infinite reality? I don't know. And being of this mind would say that all other life forms are meaningless and a waste. I don't think so. There is something that tells me we wear sunglasses here, welder glasses, that in reality, we see very little of what is really going on. And I do not believe that anything, even down to an atom, is ever wasted. And if you follow this thought, then if hell or heaven is somehow connected to earth, because it'd have to be, folks, if you believe in that construct, what happens when the earth is no longer? It's not going to be here forever, folks. Statistically, the odds are we may end up our demise as this planet as being a collision, a number of different scenarios, but it's not going to be here forever. So how can you have a construct that's tied to this that would exist forever? No. Question number 4. Why am I limited to so few choices in a universe that is unlimited and still unknown? I ask myself that often. When I walk now and I feel the energy of the earth, become aware of the other life forms around me, and knowing that I'm still divine and sentient, sovereign within my sphere. That's what all of us are, spheres. We collect, we experience, memories, feelings, experiences that impact us. We store those memories. But the universe is unlimited. Why would our creation, our existence, be so limited to so few choices? With most Earth-based belief systems, they are single dimension in their construct with direct connections to this reality, i.e. heaven, hell, never separating from this one. Would there not be a completely different dimensions with different laws upon death that we enter into? How could the reality of this existence, this temporal plane, have anything similar to over there? I don't know. I asked myself, how would it be possible for someone to transfer once over to back over here? I mean, this from a physical, logical, cognitive point of view, you're dealing with matter. You're dealing with photons. You're dealing with atoms. You're dealing with molecules. How is it that those can be so easily manipulated? Do we become superhumans? Superwomen? Super gods? What? Question number 5. Would there not be a totally, completely separate dimension with its own laws, its own principles, its own uniquenesses? I think yes. I mean, for it to have anything here, and it would have to be based upon here, that's finite. That means there's nothing else. I don't want to exist in that. And I think if you really think about it, neither do you. And I don't think the ones that have left, made it over, I don't think that's why they come back. I ask myself this: why are there no new religions? Just the old ones? Why? Why no new revelations? Why have the gods stopped writing? If you're saying that this God, any God, has said all that there is to be said, is lunacy. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me. It would seem that a God would be aware, acutely aware, of the progression of a species, understanding that that which was written for a time back then needs to be rewritten or restated to yet a new one. How would a man born in 2000 have any relationship with a man that was born in 2000 BC? Or how would there be any relationship with a person born in the first century? Are you saying that God could only speak to them and that that generation was the only one that was somehow or another found to have favor to receive this revelation? And there's nothing more to be said on the subject? We live in insanity because of that. Why no new revelations? Why no new insights for humanity? My God, if you think that there's a time where we need new insights, it's now. We're destroying ourselves. Why only the old? Is there nothing new or more left? Just this? That's all it is? Just this? Just the earth? You can have it, because I choose this. When I look at this, now that is the infinite being. I'm still on this journey, but I'm here to tell you folks, that's where I'm bound. What about you?